because the algorithm will literally read the content you post and then it pushes it out to who they think you're trying to target. So if you're a brand new, just starting out, I would say pick one niche and try to stick to it as best you can.
For how long?
I would say, what are 5 things about me that make someone want to follow me, and really just target people that way. I started to change that narrative in my head, and I think that was the most important step for me in the beginning. And then once that became my normal, I definitely saw, I would say within a year, a huge change in terms of my confidence. I definitely still have my ups and downs, struggles, especially when you throw in other factors like confidence when it comes to dating, confidence when it comes to posting on social media. Like there's so many things to be insecure about, and I still absolutely have insecurities. It always comes back to, but I love myself. I'm here for myself. I don't want to change anything about myself, So I think once you have that foundation, even though you'll have struggles and insecurities, you always come back to, but I got myself, The only silver lining was it put me into therapy for the first time. And my therapist and I really worked through my problems of being self-conscious, having low self-esteem. That was the first time I think somebody told me I had low self-esteem. I think maybe in the back of my mind I knew, but it had never been a conversation. So really, I owe that therapist a lot, because that's what really started me on my self-love journey. I started to change that narrative in my head. And I think that was the most important step for me in the beginning. And then once that became my normal, I definitely saw, I would say within a year, a huge change in terms of my confidence. I definitely still have my ups and downs, struggles, especially when you throw in other factors like confidence when it comes to dating, confidence when it comes to posting on social media. There's so many things to be insecure about, and I still absolutely have insecurities.
Everyone talks about the algorithm.
Yeah.
The algorithm on Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
YouTube. How do you beat the algorithm?
Yeah.
Or what would be your best advice that is not valid only now, but the best thing you can do, even if trends change?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I think it goes really hand in hand with...
Hi, everyone. We're here with Maddie.
Hello.
From the US.
Yes.
You're from New York, aren't you?
I grew up in Florida, but I most recently lived in New York. Yeah.
What brings you to Madrid?
Yeah, I'm here on a student visa. But really, I've just always wanted to move to Europe, experience something. I love to travel. I work remotely for myself. So it kind of worked out beautifully that I'm just here on an adventure. Yeah.
Right. So you came on a student visa because you came to learn Spanish?
Yes. So I'm taking a Spanish class. The real story is my best friend that I lived with in New York. Her and I have been best friends since freshman year of college. We met in undergrad at Florida State University. And her and I have been best friends and roommates ever since we moved to New York. She's a teacher, and her dream was always to teach abroad. So last October, she moved to Madrid to teach English, which is really the reason I moved out of New York. I just wanted a break from the city. I moved back in with my family, which was really nice, actually, to get to spend some time. I hadn't been living at home since college. So moved in with my mom, made some room at my old house. And then I came to visit my friend in Madrid, and I just had the best time. I just loved it from the second I got here. I spent 2 weeks here. So yeah, I honestly just decided to on a whim and just had fun, and kind of happened. It wasn't pre-planned really. Obviously I had to apply for the visa, but once I decided I wanted to come, it happened very organically, I feel.
Right. So it wasn't only the language, but the culture itself?
Definitely the culture. Yeah. So actually, most of my platform is about LGBTQ dating and really being a representation for plus size queer women. And when I came to Madrid, I noticed that there was a very large community of queer people, specifically queer women in Madrid. So that's honestly what really brought me here, was I just felt really connected to the culture and the people. And I wanted to experience something new. I had been living in New York the last 4 years, and I love city life. So Madrid being a city kind of was a really good fit for me.
New York, Madrid.
Yeah.
What are the main differences for you?
Well, honestly.
Or challenges?
Yeah. So there's so many differences. There's a lot of similarities. I would say just the pace of life in New York, it's go, go, go all the time. There's no breaks. Everyone is just only focused on work and, hustling. Whereas in Madrid, I've definitely noticed people take time to appreciate life. They slow down more.
Despite being Madrid, like a big city.
Exactly. Still you get the benefits of a big city, like the fun and, the people and all that, but still it's people different. Take their time. Yeah. There's no rush. I'll go sit at a restaurant, and in New York, you'd be in and out of there in less than an hour. The waiter's, bringing you the check, ready to get you out of there. Whereas here, it's kind of take your time, enjoy.
All right. And do you like that?
I do.
You're getting used to it?
I'm getting used to it for sure. Well, growing up in Florida, it's a pretty slow life there. So I think maybe I adjusted to that living in New York, the hustle and the fast pace, which I do love. But I'm definitely enjoying taking my time and just being here to enjoy life. No real purpose other than living and enjoying. So
Right.
yeah.
Are you like that generally? More adventurous?
I
Like you
do
don't have
love to
long-term
travel.
plans?
Yeah, like so I love to travel. So I love to go new places. And my best friend and I will travel a lot together. I'll do solo trips. But I think I'm definitely more of the like go, go, go type of person.
Okay.
So it's been nice to adjust to just like enjoying life and not having as much anxiety. I feel like in New York, I had a lot of anxiety, whereas here I'm more like calm and just like taking life as it comes. So,
So besides learning Spanish, you're
Yeah.
learning from the culture as well.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So you think you can see yourself living here for longer?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would love to. My visa is till the end of June, so I'm only here for 5 months.
So you have to go.
So I have to go, yeah. But I mean, I would happily come back in the future, maybe if the opportunity arose. I'm single. I work for myself. I have a lot of freedom in my life right now. I'm 26.
Okay.
I've got no one to answer to, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, which is my favorite part about my life is how independent I am. So maybe in the future, I would love to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you find the people here with plus size?
I'm gonna be honest. I have not found one plus size clothing store yet.
No.
Yeah. It's very limited clothing wise. I haven't noticed any like anyone treat me differently or like any discrimination based on my size. I haven't
Not
felt
at all?
that way at all. No.
Okay.
Because I'm also a very active person. I go a walk all the time. Like I've always been plus size my whole life. So even though I love to be active and exercise, like someone might not assume that by looking at me, but I just own it. Like I'm just like,
Cliches.
I do my
the people
thing.
think that you don't move or that's it. Right?
Well, they might assume that just
Right.
because I am plus size, but I don't ever let it hold me back. Like I go and do what I want to do. And that's honestly something I preach on my platforms a lot too, is like, don't let your size stop you from doing what you want to do. Like, yeah, maybe the airplane seats are going to be a little tight for me,
Okay.
but it's not going to stop me from getting on the plane, going to the new destination. I went, my friends and I went and took a trip through the north of Spain and we walked around, we went on a hike, like we did all these active things and I had so much fun. Like I saw sights that I could have not even imagined seeing. So yeah, I feel like personal wise, I don't ever let being plus size hold me back. I will say I love shopping and I have not found any plus size clothing options here yet.
So is that an opportunity for someone to create a business?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I feel that way in the US too. There's such limited plus size clothing options.
Even in the US?
Even in the US. Only like you can find things online pretty easily, but in store is very, very difficult to shop plus size.
I wouldn't think that.
I know. Well, you wouldn't think that, right? But it's true. Yeah, it's crazy. And actually, funny enough, before I came to Madrid, the school that I applied to and that I was enrolled in, one of my followers happened to be an administrator at that school. So when she saw me apply, she messaged me. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're coming to this school. Like, I love following you." And it was really nice because she was like, "Okay, you'll have a friendly face when you get here." So she's also plus size. So she was giving me some recommendations on where I should try out. So I need to go back and check out what she had recommended so I could actually go some in-store shopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that something you consider ever doing? Creating a business like a store? Is that in your plans?
Right now, in this moment, like I don't see it happening this year, but definitely in the future, it's something I would love to do, like
pending.
build my brand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right now, I feel like I'm so focused on travel and like
living.
Yeah, exactly.
Experiences.
So yeah. And being a content creator and a talent agent, I do have 2 jobs that I already balance. So I feel like I'm finding
Full-time
that
jobs?
they're both full-time, really. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when you work for yourself. Like I never feel like I'm not working, like I'll try to take off on the weekends, but I'm always thinking about my platforms and my job. And
Are you a workaholic?
I definitely am a workaholic. And
Yeah.
I think I always have been, even when I was like in high school and stuff. Maybe it wasn't applied to my work, but it was like school. And then moving to New York. So in 2020 was when I became an influencer. And it was because I was in grad school at the time. I had my master's from NYU in public relations.
Okay.
And also at the same time, the pandemic happened. So obviously everyone was home. And that's when I started posting on TikTok. I had no platform or anything before the pandemic. And then I started posting on TikTok and that's how I grew a following. So
You've always been social? Sorry to interrupt you.
I never had a social following before the pandemic,
Okay.
but I always wanted to be an influencer, even like in high school and things. I just never had
But
a
you've
platform.
been outgoing though, right?
Always been outgoing. Always, I
Okay.
was like a theater kid in high school. I've always had a lot of
Okay.
personality,
All right. Charisma.
So, yeah, charisma.
Okay.
That's a good word to describe it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then once I built a following, I knew that this was what I wanted to do. And so while I was in grad school, it was a 2-year program. And my goal by the time I graduated was to only work for myself. I didn't want to have to look for another job. So I've been working for myself as a social media influencer and now a talent agent since 2020. So basically 4 years of just, working independently. And I'm always thinking about that next thing. Like what's my next move? Build a brand, have my own business, those kind of things. But I think it'll all happen when it's meant to. So
Okay.
yeah.
Do you consider yourself hyperactive?
Yeah, I have
As well?
ADHD. I'm like
you
all
have-
over the place. Yes. Yeah.
How do you manage yourself? How do you manage that?
Yeah. Okay. So honestly, like what I've had to do is really just like prioritize what's most important to me. And really just
How do you
like,
do that? By a list?
yeah, definitely lists, definitely just like having a schedule. Even if I don't always stick to the schedule, having goals, like daily goals. Like for example, every day I'm going to post on Instagram. Every day I'm going to post on TikTok. Every day I'm going to post on my stories and talk to my followers. Like those little things that you can do. Because I have ADHD, focusing can be really challenging for
challenge,
me.
yeah.
And sticking to a schedule can be really challenging. So as long as I like have just a few simple goals that I meet every day, I've kind of learned that reaching those simple goals in the long run helps you to actually meet that large goal that was scary when you first thought about it, you know?
So we know it's a challenge to have
Yeah.
ADHD.
Yeah.
But what have been the benefits for you?
Yeah.
Maybe creativity?
I think, yeah, definitely creativity. And then also just like my drive to work for myself. I think that if I didn't want to work for myself and I, just went in, for example, I
9
have
to 5?
Yeah, exactly. If I had instead gone and worked for a PR firm 9 to 5, honestly, I don't think I'd be very happy. Like, I don't think I would have, maybe I'd be passionate
feel
about what I'm
stuck,
doing.
like,
Exactly.
or-
I feel stuck. I feel like I have to, I was working on someone else's dream. Whereas even if it's super hard to work for myself, I'm working on my own dream, and that's,
Even if you're
to me,
working
is very
longer,
valuable.
right?
I work literally, yes, all the time. But to me, it's more worth it because I get to know at the end of the day that like I'm working for something that I want, not what somebody else wants. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do when you don't meet your
Yeah.
own expectations?
Oh my
Like
gosh,
when
yeah.
you're slacking or when
Yeah.
you're not, when you fill up your schedule
Yeah.
and you're not doing everything.
Yeah.
How
It
do you do
happens
that?
way more than I would like,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
What do you do then?
I think I just meet myself with grace because at the end of the day, like, it's very hard to have so much responsibility for yourself. Like, I could have a job where I just show up every day and, work from 9 to 5 and then you get a paycheck at the end of the week or whatever. But instead I chose to do something that was, a paycheck isn't guaranteed and you have to maybe work longer hours. But again, it's just like, I always remind
The freedom.
myself, the freedom is so much worth it to me. And I'm very passionate about it. And then also sometimes I just take a minute to slow down and realize how grateful I am for my position because I literally have an incredible following of women online that love me, know me, think of me as their friend. Like I message them all day long. So if I'm ever really feeling the pressure, I'll kind of just like try to connect back with my followers and just remind myself like, this is why I'm doing this. Yes, the money is good. Yes, I need to support myself. But at the end of the day, like I'm doing this to connect with women online. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's great. So that's a pay as well. Besides the money itself.
Yeah. Oh
like,
yeah.
You get back from them the support.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the money, like just to be transparent, is so up and down. Like, 2022 was my highest earning year. And then 2023 was one of my lowest. So I went from like one
So you
extreme to
balanced.
the other. Yeah, literally.
Okay.
So now 2024, I'm just kind of like, well, we're going to see what happens. Like it's very hard to predict. And sometimes you can feel like you're working super hard and you're not meeting that payout. So I think when you are a creative person too, you have to find ways besides income that fulfill you, and push
Okay.
you to do.
So
what
is
you're
that
doing.
something you
Yeah.
did you have to learn your finances on the go or you learned prior to starting?
Yeah, no, I learned completely like as I was going. So I've been working for myself since 2020. And I was living in New York City, which is obviously one of the most expensive places to live.
Okay.
So I was supporting myself and, trying to launch my own business. I think I just I'm so thankful to the success I had early on because I started on TikTok at a really, really good time. I was able to have some incredible brand partnership opportunities back in 2020 and 2021. I didn't really start earning brand partnership income till the end of 2020. I did it for a full year almost. So I really saw any income. But again, that was just because I was passionate about it and I loved making videos. So I was having fun. And then, once 2021 came around and I really was viewing it as a business, I totally just had to learn as I was going. I reached out to an accountant. I reached out to a bookkeeper.
When the money came in.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You're like,
Once I had this money.
You're like, what can I do now?
Right.
Okay.
And I'm still learning. I feel like I'm still in the beginning of truly understanding what it means to be financially independent and all those things. And I'm almost basically 4 years into my business, So it's a daily educational process for me.
So you think people should learn this prior to starting?
Yeah.
Or that could maybe slow people down with creativity because if you look at the money, you may not continue, right?
Right. No, absolutely. I think you should definitely not let it stop you. Don't
Okay.
feel like you need to know everything before whether it's working for yourself, becoming a creator, like ultimately you could be a creator for years and not make any money, or you could start early on and start making money, you know? So I think that, like for me, I always tell people because a lot of people will come to me and say, oh, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a content creator. And I tell them, I'm like, this is a job that you don't apply for. It's not like you submit your resume to Instagram and say, oh, I want to be a content creator.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. 100%
and the audience.
Up to you. Exactly. Yeah. So it's up to you to find your people and really build that. And then with that, opportunities come.
Okay. And how do you find your people or your niche? What people say?
So mine has evolved so much. So when I first started posting on TikTok, I only did plus size fashion and body positivity content, which is still my core of what I do. But at that time, I was really, really lucky to start on TikTok when I did, because there weren't a ton of plus size fashion creators. So I went viral pretty early on. And
how many videos?
I mean, I would post videos every day, and like at that time, to me, 100,000 views was viral,
Okay.
So most people think of 1 million views as viral. To me, I was like 100,000 views. Like this is crazy. Yeah. And so I reached, in the first year, I reached over 100,000 followers, and it was just like crazy to me.
With no plan.
Yeah, no plan. Just having fun,
One video a day or how many?
Yeah, try at least one video a day I would do.
Okay.
Sometimes more. Back in like 2020, probably definitely more because it was the pandemic. But it's funny because I remember the day I downloaded TikTok, it was like November 2019. And it was still very new to me. Like, people were talking about it. And I remember downloading it and being like, I'm obsessed with this app. I'm going to become a creator. Like I told my best friend, I was like, yeah, I'm going to become a TikToker. And she's like, yeah, okay.
So you had a feeling, or it was more like a desire?
It was just like a feeling. I just felt like this was my opportunity.
And your time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Cause I always, Instagram first became a thing when I was in like 9th or 10th grade. So I always wanted to be an influencer, but it just felt so unattainable. Even like, so basically my undergrad, I studied political science. I thought I was going to go to law school because, I love my family so much. But when growing up, they taught me that like to be successful, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer,
Okay.
Like you have to have,
Typical.
Exactly. And so that was my mindset. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to be a doctor. Certainly don't. So I guess I'll have to be a lawyer. Yeah. Okay. And meanwhile, ADHD, I'm so bad at reading. Like it's not my strong suit. So I don't know why I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Yeah. So, I was interested in politics. I was always interested in those kind of things. So political science felt like a good choice for me at the time. But then by the time I graduated undergrad, I was just so over it. I was just like, I don't want anything to do with it, especially growing up in Florida, a very tough political climate. Like, I was still very much in the closet at that point in my life too. So it was just like a very like complicated, I guess time for me. Yeah. So, I tried to study for the LSAT. Also, that did not go well. So basically I was like, okay, well, I have to figure out what I want to do. And, grad school felt like a good next step for me. And so I was researching programs. I knew I wanted to move to New York. That was really all I knew that I wanted to do. And that I had a real interest for beauty and fashion. So I was, I started researching grad programs, and I wanted to go to NYU. And I found that they had a public relations master's program. So I started doing research on that, and it felt like such a good fit for me. And thank God I got in, because it was the only grad school I applied to.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what brought me to New York, and that's what put me into public relations. And I got an internship at the time. So I was working for a brand. They're basically a data company, but they did research in the beauty and fashion space. So they would like predict trends based on what people were searching for. So it was really cool because I was making their social media content. So I was making all this beauty and fashion content for their brand page.
Before you started?
Before I started, yeah,
okay,
exactly.
So you had your training.
Yes, that was basically like my foot in the door. And I was really lucky that my manager was super supportive of me, like posting my own content too, because obviously I was doing both. So she was super supportive of me. And yeah, that's kind of how I started. And I was more passionate about it than anything else I'd ever done. I had so many random jobs in college. Like I worked at a law firm. I was an orientation leader. Like I did so many random things. But finally working in social media felt like the actual right fit for me. And then I just went with it from there. I never looked back.
So you felt it. When you got in that, you're like, oh, this is it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I was just like, this is what I want to do.
And you hyper-focused.
Literally. Exactly.
Okay.
Hyper-fixated on it, and then just didn't stop until it was my job.
Okay.
So yeah, which worked out well, thankfully.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much has it helped studying public relations?
Oh my
the study
gosh.
itself.
Yeah. It was absolutely essential, honestly. Like that I owe a lot of my success to my program. Yeah. Because obviously the pandemic happened right in the middle of that. So I really only got one semester in person. But because I was studying public relations, that's how I learned how to communicate with brands and pitch myself to brands. Like everything I was learning in class, it was mostly tailored to like business communications, but I would take everything I learned and just apply it to myself and apply it to my job as like a social media agent. That's how I started to build brand partnerships. And then it actually worked out even better because I only managed myself for like 1 year. And then I started working for a talent agency as well, managing other creators. So it really, my degree opened this whole other like side of my job for me because I learned how to manage myself and other creators. All of its communications. It's literally 99% emails. Like my
So you would do it
job.
again?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
You wouldn't go straight to social media?
Yeah, no, I think my degree really was
Helped
what
you.
taught me
Okay.
how to do it, and then showed me that it was possible. You know what I mean? Like it felt like before it felt really insurmountable and just like a far off dream. Whereas learning what to do in school, like I took, classes about social media and all that kind of stuff. So it felt much more attainable with my education. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Have you always been this confident? You seem very,
Yeah.
very, very confident.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. That's like such a high compliment for me. And the answer is no. I definitely
No?
in high school, I would say my entire childhood and high school, I really, really struggled with confidence and being self-conscious because I've always been plus size my whole life. Even as a kid, like I was never like, some people say, oh, I was skinny and then I became plus size. No, like I was always plus size.
Okay.
And I just like I was always doing dance and theater, so I was always in, which I loved. I loved to do.
Okay.
But it's kind of like you're in an environment where people judge you and people feel comfortable to like talk about your body. And even as a child, I had adults telling me, oh, you're too big. Oh, why are you weigh that much? Like, why are you eating
In
that?
your family,
Like,
maybe?
my family, people at school, my coaches, like literally any adult
Okay.
felt comfortable to
Ooh.
tell me I was too big, And when you're a kid and you're being told you're too much, you're too big, you really internalize that a lot,
You end up believing it, right?
You end up believing it, exactly. And like, so I grew up in the 2000s. Like I was born in 97. So that the 2000s were like a time where being super skinny was like the only way to be. Yeah, exactly. And I was never that. So definitely had a lot of body image struggles growing up. And then by the time I got to college, I think I was just so over it, honestly. I think I was just like so done. I think I was just so done with being like self-conscious that I was just like, why am I bogged down with this, And then actually what really like pushed me was when I was 18, my freshman year of college, my dad actually passed away, which was obviously horrible experience to go through. The only like silver lining was it put me into therapy for the first time. And my therapist and I really worked through my problems of being self-conscious, having low self-esteem. Like that was the first time I think somebody told me I had low self-esteem. Like I think maybe in the back of my mind I knew, but it had never been a conversation. So really I owe that therapist a lot because that's what really started me on my self-love journey. And
at 18?
At 18, yeah, literally. And now I'm 26. So yeah, basically 8 years of like really dedicating my whole life to just loving myself and accepting myself for who I am. And then that really became my mission online too. So it's really like just blended into my whole life, helping others. Because there's so many plus size girls, so many girls in general, but like specifically plus size women who just have such low self-esteem because we're always being told to be smaller, to shrink yourself, you're too big, you're too much. So that's why I love to just on my platform be like, accept yourself as you are. You're good. Like you don't have to change anything. Your life starts now. You don't have to wait until you look different, So that's where a lot of my confidence comes from now, for sure.
Great. So did you ever try being smaller size, like people say?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
You tried?
Yeah, my whole childhood was like dedicated to trying to lose weight or be smaller.
Okay. Like diets or
every diet you can imagine. Like I was like 13 years old on Weight Watchers. Like why was I doing that,
Wow.
And looking back, it's like, it is what it is. I try not to harp on it, but I definitely wish I didn't experience those things,
That you didn't try or that you didn't have to try, right?
I guess that I didn't have to try, yeah. Because I think if I had just,
Accept.
Yeah, if I had just learned how to have healthy habits earlier in life, such as being more active or just like, eating more well-rounded things, I think that's so much more valuable. Yeah, like I think that my goal was always to try to be smaller, whereas my goal should have been to be healthier, to be stronger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mindset shifts rather than I'm 13 years old, let me try to lose weight as fast as I can. You know what I'm saying? And then even in college, I definitely was always up and down with my weight. And then my senior year of college, I was also going through a really hard time in my life. And the keto diet was like really popular at that time. And so I did that and I ended up losing a lot of weight. But the problem is with that, you can't eat any carbs. Like you eat like less than 20 carbs a day or something crazy.
Wow.
And so then once you stop doing it, obviously I was I went back to eating carbs and then I gained all that weight and more. So it's like anytime I tried to do those crash diets or like, attempts to lose weight, it just never worked out in my favor, honestly. And the only time, the healthiest I felt in my life is now when I'm just active. I prioritize being healthy and just having a well-rounded life more so than just trying to lose weight or be smaller. Because what do I care about being smaller for, honestly?
Yeah.
Like, what is the big deal?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But hey, you can't blame yourself or a kid who's 13, 12 to be so mature to
Oh
say,
my gosh, absolutely. Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't harp on it. I don't have any regrets. I think more so I feel sad for that 13-year-old girl because I'm like, you were so beautiful. You did not need to change anything. Like, you
could have used your time better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, there were so many better things to put my attention on. So, yeah.
Do you think now, like today, they're doing something to help this in schools, for instance? Or no, it's not a thing yet.
It's so hard because I think kids now have so many more pressures than even I did because of social media. They're constantly seeing images and videos of women, mostly edited, because you can edit videos too. Like, what I'm
even with the popularity of plus size?
I think there's definitely been a shift towards body acceptance for sure. But I think just the fact that kids have so much access to social media is definitely puts a lot of pressure on them now too. So
comparing themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. Pressure on ourselves. I will say it's amazing to me. One of my favorite things is that, young girls have people like myself and people like plus size influencers to look up to. That was not a thing at all when I was a kid. Like, I wish I had seen someone who looked like me posting on social media, doing their thing. Like, that would have given me a lot more confidence. So I'm glad to be that person now for the younger generation for sure. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So in schools and things like that, they're not doing anything about it, right?
I hope they are. Honestly, I've been so far removed
You haven't heard?
from being in school. I hope, like I said, I hope that they really are teaching kids to just live an active, healthy life all around, not focus
rather
on
than
any
size or weight.
Exactly. Because size and health looks different on every single person. Like, every single person could be a different size. You go to the doctor and they tell you you're healthy. You do your blood work. As long as you're good, like, you can be a vast array of sizes, and healthy doesn't just have one look on one specific person. So,
is that something you look forward to doing yourself? Maybe going to schools and speaking?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would love to do things like that, like really helping younger girls and boys too, because obviously boys, struggle with body image as well. It's much less talked about with boys than with girls. But one of my best friend who I was mentioning earlier, she's a high school student. And so I got the opportunity to like meet some of her students. She was a basketball coach. So I would go to her girls' basketball games and talk to them. And they were just the cutest girls. And it was nice to be able to have like that experience with the younger generation. And they thought it was awesome that I did social media. So it was like, that's a small scale, but it was an example of a time I was able to be like a good role model for younger kids. And that's definitely something I would love to do. I don't know, sometimes I'd be posting crazy things on my social media, so I don't recommend that they all follow me. But if they need some body positivity, then they can definitely look to my feed.
Okay. Going back to self-confidence.
Yeah.
Do you think you ever had it and you lost it? Or you think it's something you always struggled with?
That is such a good question. I guess I never really thought of it that way. I do think that I think I probably had it and then lost it, because when I think back to being a really young kid, I always had a big personality. I always, was playing dress up, having fun. Like, I was always in theater and loved to dance. And you kind of need some confidence to be able to do that, to get up in front of everybody. So I do think I had the confidence.
Like early years before teen years?
Yes, probably even like elementary school, like really young. And then, to be honest, I went through puberty very early on. I was in like 4th grade when I've been this height. I'm 5'4". 5'5". I've been this height since I was 10 years old. I'm not even kidding. So I went through this huge growth spurt at 10. All of a sudden, I'm the biggest kid in my class, and everybody had to comment about it. Everybody had to let me know how tall I was. When meanwhile, I'm not even that tall. I just had a growth spurt early on. Yeah. At the time, I was the tallest. And so I think just those comments from, not that I was bullied, but just the comments from my peers, comments from adults, those are what really stand out to me. That really knocked down my confidence for sure, and just made me really self-conscious, honestly. So yeah, I think I think it was a little bit of a mix of both. And I'm really glad that I'm in a point in my life where I'm back to that true self-confidence that I have. And also that my self-confidence really does not come from what I look like. Like I am confident about myself because of so many other things, not just about my appearance. And I think that's probably what a lot of people struggle with is they're looking towards their external appearance to be confident. Whereas really like you can't really control all that much about what you look like on the outside, but you can control other things that make you feel confident. And I think that like spirit that's in me kind of is what gave me the confidence.
So the confidence that I see
Yeah.
on the outside
Yeah.
comes from the inside of you.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah.
That's why you transmit it that way.
Exactly.
You don't seem to be insecure or okay.
Yeah. The beauty is just, an afterthought. It's just, it's really like, like I think once you're really good with you, like I feel like I'm my best company. Like I have a really good relationship with myself.
With yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where I think most of my confidence comes from,
Okay.
So
how long do you think it can take someone to go from being not confident to confident?
I mean, it's hard to put a
measurable?
timeline on it. Okay, so just looking back to me, when I was 18 and at my absolute lowest with self-confidence when I was a freshman in college, once I decided to start my confidence journey, it happened very fast, to be honest, because even if it was fake confidence, like a facade, I was still committed to it. And it was still a new feeling for me.
What would you say fake confidence? Sorry.
Yeah, I just feel like back when I was 18 and I just decided to start my self-love journey, nothing had changed about me. I looked the exact same, I still had all the same problems, but suddenly I was on my own side. Like I really struggled when I was younger with negative self-talk. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, where they say like, I hate myself, I'm ugly, like negative things about yourself. Once I cut that out of my life completely, I think that was the biggest change for me, was because I started to say positive things about myself. I started to change that narrative in my head. And I think that was the most important step for me in the beginning. And then once that became my normal, I definitely saw, I would say within a year, a huge change in terms of my confidence. I definitely still have my ups and downs, struggles, especially when you throw in other factors like confidence when it comes to dating, confidence when it comes to posting on social media. Like there's so many things to be insecure about. And I still absolutely have insecurities. And
but it helps, right?
Yeah, it helps.
Once you tackle one,
yes,
it helps for the others.
Absolutely. And it always goes back to my foundation of self-love. Even if I feel insecure about something, even if I feel really like low, maybe one day I have really like feeling bad about myself, it always comes back to, but I love myself. I'm here for myself. I don't want to change anything about myself, So I think once you have that foundation, even though you'll have struggles and insecurities, you always come back to, but I got myself, Okay. So yeah.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think you found yourself and you became confident at a really good age, 18.
Definitely.
I think.
Yeah.
and you became resilient, right?
Yes,
I think
that's such a good word. Well, also too, like I mentioned, I had just lost my dad at that time too, and like
so it was everything at once.
Yeah, it was like my whole life.
And then COVID when you started.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Because I was 18, I was a freshman in college. Pandemic happened 2020 when I was my first year in grad school. Like so many things in the course of the last 6 years have just like been crazy, and just obviously hard. But one thing my dad always taught me, and he's one thing that really sticks with me, is he would always call me very tenacious. Like he's like, your tenacity is the most important thing. And I've always stuck to that. And I feel like once you go through something like losing a parent at 18, other bad things in life, you're like, I got this.
Yeah,
this is not a problem, Obviously, things are challenging and things are hard, but, having that experience when I was 18 really changed my whole entire life. Especially when, like, I was such a daddy's girl. Like, I love my dad. He definitely gave me confidence as a child and everything. So losing him was awful, traumatic. It actually just last week was 8 years since he passed away. And it's just like every single day I choose to live my best life and live happily, honestly, because of him and for him, Like I think when you lose someone you love so much, yes, you mourn your own grief, but you also grieve their life, like the life they were supposed to live. And so I think a lot of my confidence comes from the fact that I want to like honor his life, and be happy for him. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So instead of that situation bringing you down, it gives you the strength now to continue, like a motivation.
Yeah. Now it does. Definitely back then it was obviously very traumatic and hard, but now that it's been 8 years, it's definitely like something I view as a strength for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And then also too, just one thing I wanted to mention about having insecurities, having a platform online, I've learned that the best thing I can do when I'm feeling insecure is to talk about it and to tell my audience like, hey, I'm dealing with this insecurity, because the amount of messages and interaction I get when I talk about my insecurities, it's crazy. Like I'll get dozens and dozens of messages from women. Specifically, like recently I talked about how I was having a lot of insecurities when it came to dating. You know, it was just Valentine's Day a couple weeks ago and I was like, I'm so single. Like I'm literally so single. And I went online and I was talking about how, you know, I'm feeling insecure. I haven't been on a date at all. Like things are just, you know, just normal things. And the amount of messages I got being like, oh my God, I completely relate to this. Oh my God, I thought I was the only one. Like that to me shows that so many of us feel the exact same way. We're just a lot of us are afraid to talk about it. So
why do you think people are afraid?
I don't know. I think, again, it goes back to right now is a really weird time where everyone compares their lives to what they see on social media or what they see on TV. And it's so easy to feel like everyone is in a happy, beautiful relationship except you. I mean, I feel that way. Most of my friends are in, you know, heteronormative relationships with great men. Like I'm so, you know, so fortunate that most of my best friends have really amazing male partners. And I love that for them. Like they're awesome people. And then there's me, like someone who identifies as lesbian and is so single, like, you know? So it's hard sometimes when you feel like I'm maybe the only queer girl or the only person who's single or just like anyone, you know? So I think that it's a comparison game a lot of the time is what makes me feel insecure, at least. My mom always used to say, comparison is the thief of joy. So like once you compare yourself to others, like of course you're going to be upset, you know? So yeah, I just think that me talking about that online and opening that conversation really helps a lot of people connect to me and realize that like I'm just a person too. Like, yes, I have this confidence and I post, and my persona online is super confident, which is definitely part of me. But, you know, there's still that little girl in me who like had those insecurities, you know? So just trying to be real. I always try to be real and authentic online as best I can.
So you think it has to do with ego when people have that fear? Because I think it's the fear, how can I show myself that I'm supposed to be so great?
Right.
How can I tell them that I'm weak? Right. Or I have this. Is that it?
It's definitely part of it for sure, because especially like in today's dating culture, people don't really want to be vulnerable. People want to like, you know, put up a guard and not let people in, which I can understand because obviously it's very hard to do, you know? And especially in New York dating culture, like that is like, it's a crazy world out there in New York. But I definitely feel like, I don't know. I'm just at a point where I'm just trying to have fun, meet new people, not take life too seriously either. You know, I'm 26 years old. Like I'll be single till I'm not. It's okay, you know? So yeah. Okay.
I think your key strength is accepting.
Yeah. Oh, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Accepting myself.
Yeah. Accepting everything. I'm like this. I'm like that. I'm like that.
Yeah.
So what?
Exactly. Can't change it. Okay. And just embrace it instead.
Right. So between managing yourself, being an influencer, and managing others, which do you enjoy the most?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Or maybe for the future, which do you see yourself doing more?
Right now, I really do love doing both. I think I'm so good at both. Not even to like to my own horn. I just think I have these skills, you know? Okay. So it's like I might as well do both. I do in the future maybe see myself leaning more towards just managing myself because I have so many ideas. We were talking earlier about me building a brand, like having a clothing brand or something. Yeah, like, and that to me really requires time. So if I wanted to make that move, I probably would shift to just managing myself. Right now, I only manage one other creator. So it's very doable, very like, I'm able to manage my time easily. And I'm honestly so passionate about the public relations and communications side of influencer marketing. So I'm not ready to give that up yet in terms of like handling other people's brand partnerships, just because I think it's so interesting. But I mean, obviously I love focusing on my own thing and focusing on myself too. Right now it's definitely a balance. But right now I'm definitely happy doing both. So yeah.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yes, I do. Okay. Yeah. I love the term solopreneur.
Solopreneur?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or like digital entrepreneur. I think honestly with how much I'm trying to balance right now in terms of like, I just moved abroad and like I work for myself. I do think it can be hard to focus on one task. And sometimes when I'm like thinking about building a brand, it's hard to even like visualize that, you know, but I think I build my brand every single day online when I posted content and bringing people along. I will say this year specifically, I've shifted towards becoming a travel content creator. So in the past, I would post travel vlogs here and there, but obviously with this opportunity of me moving abroad, I've been bringing my audience along with me. And I think I've been really shifting into working with hotel brands, working with different like travel agencies and things like that. So really moving into that travel space. So that's kind of my next like work-wise focus is
to travel?
Shift. Yeah.
Okay.
He's still doing fashion, but broadening my horizon, like broadening my reach. Because if you only want to work with fashion brands, you know, you're putting yourself in a box. Whereas if you can make a variety of content, there's a lot more brands you can work with and opportunities. So, yeah.
How would you advise on doing that for people who want to do different things? Yeah. Do you think they should do it early on?
Yeah.
Or they should focus on one first and then shift?
Well, see, that's the hard part is I feel like I can do that because I already have a community of people. Okay. So if you're a brand new, just starting out, I would say pick one niche and try to stick to it as best you can.
For how long?
I would say give yourself, you can even do 3 to 6 months. It doesn't have to be, you know, forever. Yeah. Just do 3 to 6 months of focusing on one niche and go and really being specific. Like I tell my clients, my influencer clients, like you have to be so specific about who you're trying to target online because the algorithm will literally read the content you post and then it pushes it out to who they think you're trying to target.
But depending on the volume of how much you post or?
Yes. Well, so I tell people to post every day. Like if you want to be an influencer, you need to get comfortable posting every single day as best you can, every other day at minimum. But you need to make your presence known. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people like me who post their life, you know? So
fierce competition, right?
There's so much competition. Like this is not 2020 anymore when I was one of the only plus size fashion creators on TikTok, you know, like we are not in that space anymore. There are hundreds of and thousands of people exactly like me who are trying to do the exact same thing I do. So you have to make yourself different and you have to make yourself known. And the only way you're going to do that is to show up as consistently as you can when still taking into consideration quality. You know, don't just post something horrible because you think you have to post it, you know, post something because
that time is gone, right?
Right.
Just posting.
Right. Yeah. And like on TikTok and stuff, fun, simple videos still do super well. Like I think there's still value in that. But I think you have to like have a base of content that shows who you are and gets people to stick around. Like you have to think about, I try to think about who my favorite influencers to follow are and then take notes. What are they doing right? What makes me attracted to them? What makes me watch their videos? For me, I have the shortest attention span ever. I will scroll past a video in like 2 seconds, literally. Yeah. So you have to think about what's going to get people to stick around, you know? So yeah. So I would say if someone was starting now, really try to niche down. For me, for example, from 2020 to like 2022, I was only focusing on plus size fashion. And then in 2023, I actually started posting about the LGBTQ community. I had never been out online before. Right. It was like February 2023 when I first, so almost basically 1 year now, since I, you know, basically came out online. And when I tell you my audience changed so much for the better in 1 year, like I was able to really, really target this group of women who identify with me being not only plus size, but also identify as queer. And so I really targeted this group of people. And now my audience is more engaged with me than ever before because they're not just here for plus size fashion. They're here because they really relate to what I'm doing and to my whole platform. So, yeah.
So the sooner you find out who you are, the sooner you can find out your audience, maybe.
Totally.
And be true to yourself, which is your case.
Yes. And I would say do what feels true to you and feels comfortable for you. Like you can write down, like brainstorm, you know, what are 5 things about me that make someone want to follow me and really just target people that way. And it takes time. Like I don't think you're going to just post one video and all of a sudden have a huge following, but the more you build up to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
But you think someone should find their niche before starting or start posting and find that your niche on the go?
I think you could do either. I think you could definitely have success either way. But I think now, if I was going to start over from scratch today and had no social media platform, I would be super clear about who I want to target because that's just going to help you cut out the
less time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's still going to be a struggle. Like even people, you know, myself and people who have solidified platforms still struggle with engagement. I mean, if you look at my TikTok views, it is nowhere close to what it used to be in 2020, you know, but I've just evolved and I've accepted that I can't control the platform. I can't control TikTok. All I can do is post what I want to post and try to reach the people that already follow me or that need to be following me, you know? Okay. So
everyone talks about the algorithm.
Yeah.
The algorithm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. How do you beat the algorithm?
Yeah.
Or what would be your best advice that is not valid only now, but the best thing you can do, even if trends change?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. I think it goes really hand in hand with the audience, what we're talking about. And for me, the best thing I could have ever done for myself back in 2020, and something I still do now, is really, really focusing on my community. So for me, like I just mentioned, views are going to go up and down. I can't control engagement. I can't control how many people see my stuff. I can do the best I can to like help the algorithm show it to my people. But at the end of the day, I'm just a person. The algorithm is a computer, you know? So the most important thing for me is that I have really built a community of people since 2020 now who care about me, who ride for me, who think of me as their friend, and I think of them as my friends. So I think that that's what a lot of new content creators might miss, is like they're just trying to get those numbers and go viral. Whereas to me, being viral, obviously, yeah, is fun, but it's not always the best thing. I've gone viral with the wrong audience. And then unfortunately, it brings me, for example, working with brands, I like to have a really strong female demographic on my page. Sometimes I've had videos go viral with a male audience, and then all of a sudden I have all these male followers.
And you don't want them,
right?
I'm
like, get away from me, please. Yeah.
What do you do then? What do you do when you get audience that you don't want?
I quite literally remove them. I have an assistant. One of my good friends is my assistant.
To remove
one of her
followers?
jobs, yes, is literally to remove. And anytime I have free time, if I'm like on a bus or like in a Uber or something, I literally sit on my phone and just remove male followers, because it's the only way
because
to do
it harms
my demographics ultimately, and then that plays a role into my brand partnerships, because brands want to see that I have a strong female demographic, because obviously most of the brands I work with are targeting the women customers, you know? So I will literally remove the followers. And then also I'm very, very intentional about the content that I post. So in the past, I actually used to post a lot of swimsuit reviews, because I had a couple videos go viral. Actually back in I believe it was 2022, I posted a swimsuit review video, and it went really viral. And actually Teen Vogue interviewed me because they saw my video, and they wanted to interview me about best plus size swimsuits, which was so awesome for me, because I grew up reading Teen Vogue. Like, I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. So I was on their website. I wasn't in the magazine, but so because of that, swimsuits became like a really I guess you could say staple product on my Amazon store, my affiliate earnings, all that. But I noticed, unfortunately, the more swimsuits I was posting, they were unfortunately going viral with the wrong audience and bringing male attention to my page. So I kind of had to stop doing that. And unfortunately, like, that was unfortunate for me, because I enjoyed doing those videos, but it's kind of a give and take, you know? It's like, okay, what's the benefit versus it's bringing me all this negative attention that I don't want, you know? And then, you know, with and not just male and spam followers also comes fat phobic comments. Like people literally commenting on my video being
they're
like,
not your
you know,
community.
Not my people. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Not my people. Yeah. So I don't really deal with a lot of hate online, but unfortunately those few, like if I do post a swimsuit video or something, people will comment on it, maybe something negative. So I've unfortunately kind of had to move away from that. But it's okay. Like I evolved so much as a creator. I'm also the type of person that gets pretty bored very easily. So I can't always do the same thing over and over.
So you have to be changing.
Yeah, exactly. Always changing it up, evolving. And always just evolving. Yeah.
You wouldn't think that someone needs to consider before going viral.
Yeah.
Do you really want to go viral?
Right.
And who are you going to attract?
Exactly.
And what are you going to do?
Yeah.
With the virality.
Right. No, going viral can be really scary. Like if it's with the wrong audience, you do not want to go viral. If it's with the right audience, best day of my life. Like literally, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Like last year I had a video. One of my biggest sponsors is Torrid, the plus size fashion retailer. And I had posted, I've done a bunch of sponsorships with them, but I posted a video that wasn't sponsored by them. It was just like, I was at the mall and I saw a really cute outfit at Torrid and I wanted to try it on. And I posted it on TikTok and it went so viral organically. And that was like the best day of my life, because it had so many women commenting on it, being like, oh my God, this is so cute. And then the best part was I got to send it to the brand and say, hey, look, this wasn't even sponsored. And look how well it performed on my page. Let's renew our partnership. Okay. And then boom, they booked me for the next campaign, you know? So stuff like that is like literally my dream come true. So that's when it's good viral. Other times it could be not so good viral, but that's okay too. So, yeah.
So now you got me thinking.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right. Right. So what would be your best advice for people wanting to do similar careers?
Yeah.
Like you. If they're plus size, they want to be influencers.
Yeah. I would say, honestly, just go for it. Like, stop overthinking it. Stop asking what's the best advice. Just go for it.
Just
like,
go
you know
for
what
it.
I'm saying?
Start doing it.
Yeah. Like,
show up.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, you cannot apply to be an influencer. There's no resume you submit. Okay. You just start posting. You just start putting yourself out there and really, really focus on building a community. Like I mentioned prior, because you cannot guarantee likes, comments. You can't guarantee those kind of things. But what you can guarantee is you putting yourself out there and really trying to connect with people. And ultimately, that's what's going to bring you success. success in the long run. Because even micro influencers who don't have a massive platform can make very good income on social media. Like, you don't have to be the biggest influencer in the world to make an income on social media. Like,
and
you
in
just
that
have
case,
that community. Yeah.
In that case, the brands come to you, or you have to go to them?
Both.
For small.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely both. I think anyone who's trying to be an influencer, before you go and get yourself a manager, like someone like me, a talent agent, you need to learn how to pitch yourself and how to be comfortable communicating with brands. And you should absolutely not wait for brands to reach out to you. You need to make your presence known. Yeah, that was, so the talent agency I work for, the influencer that created the agency, her name is Crystal Heredia. And when I first started social media, I learned so much from Crystal. So back in 2020, she was hosting social media courses. Like, she was a coach for social media. And at the time, I had just started growing on TikTok. I knew I wanted social media to be my job, but I had no idea what to really do. So like I mentioned, I was in school. So I started taking Crystal's classes. And one thing she really, really drove home was like, you need to make your presence known. Don't wait for brands to reach out to you. You need to, even if the answer is no, even
you
if
need to reach out to them.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to reach out to them. Even if they say not at this time, they still have you on their radar, and you're only going to grow. So once they see, oh, you've now grown 20,000 followers and you were interested in us then, okay, now we're interested, So the best thing you can do for yourself as a creator is really learn how to communicate online. Email etiquette. I can write, not to toot my own horn, but I write really good emails. And I think I write emails better than I speak. Yeah. I've learned the language and I've learned how to really just pitch yourself. That's the thing, is it's like you have to just be very comfortable pitching yourself until you're at a place where maybe you decide to get a talent agent or a manager in the future, But I would say if you're just starting out, do not wait to get an agent or anything like that.
What's a good number? What's a good number to start reaching out?
So honestly, there's no real number. Even if you had 2,000 to 5,000 followers, you can be that micro. And if you, first of all, don't do it unless you have a really solid platform. Like, don't, if you still have, your family photos and grandma's birthday, what I'm saying?
It needs to be professional.
Yeah, it has to be professional. Exactly. Like, once you have a professional feed of really high quality content and really strong, content that represents you, that's when you can start reaching out,
Something sustainable maybe?
Yeah, exactly. Something sustainable. And also too, sorry, I'm throwing so much at you, but it's like, there's so many things that, because also too, there's so many ways to be successful online. It doesn't just have to be brand partnerships. Honestly, I would recommend you not rely on just brand partnerships to be successful, because ultimately you cannot control when a brand wants to work with you or not. But what you can control is your affiliate earnings and how much you're posting. So for me, for example, one of the ways I earn income is through my Amazon store. So I have an Amazon store that people can shop on, and then I earn a commission off of every single product. And then also, influencers, this is like OG how influencers are making money, is through affiliate marketing. And so before you start reaching out to brands, make sure you have a really solid Amazon store, LTK, like affiliate earnings. So that way you can also show brands, hey, I've been posting, for example, I work with this brand. Actually, the leggings I'm wearing right now.
All right.
This brand is called Colorful Koala. And they had sent me these leggings. Oh my God, I became obsessed with them. I was like, these are the best leggings ever. I was posting them all the time. I had posted a story. It got over like 300 link clicks on my story, which for me is a lot of link clicks. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm just going to post so much content about them that they cannot ignore me. So then I sent all of the organic content I posted to the rep. And then I was also able to share the sales data from my Amazon showing exactly how many clicks, how many sales, how many of these leggings I sold. And then I was able to get the brand rep to agree to a partnership with me. So now they're paying me to make content off of the leggings that they sent me originally that I've now been earning income commission off of. And now they're paying me a flat fee to make content for them.
So you proved yourself first by selling through affiliate links.
Exactly.
And then you reached out and now you got to deal with it.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. And it could take a while. Like, it was like a couple months before they agreed to work with me. Right. But once I had that sales data sent over to them, that's when they said yes, So if I was brand new, and because honestly, I'm still brand new, even though I've been doing this for 4 years, every day feels brand new, like, honestly. So yeah, just, you always have to think of it as a long game too. Like, I know for a fact, something I do say I do it in January, I might not see the payout till March or April. You know what I'm saying? But it's all a long game. And also something I learned from one of our amazing influencers that works with our talent agency. Her name is Nina. She told me that she gave me some really good advice. People have to see something over 7 times before they're willing to purchase it. So I have to post these leggings and my followers have to see it at least 7 times before they're really going to buy it. Yeah.
So posting once is not enough.
Exactly. Posting it once and never again is not anywhere near enough. Because even think about yourself as a consumer. Like, you might see something on TikTok and be like, oh, I kind of want that. Then you scroll away, and then maybe you'll come back to it. So it's truly all sales. It's all marketing. Like I just run my whole little business from my phone. But at the end of the day, it's all about being sales. Yeah, exactly. It's all about selling and having influence to make people buy something.
So you would advise to diversify your income streams from the start.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
And not rely on anything solely, right?
Well, there's so many reasons why too, because brand partnerships, yes, you can make a lot of money, but also most of those partnerships, if you're lucky, they're net 30, which means you'll get paid in 30 days. But a lot of the time it's net 60. So you might do a partnership in January that you're not actually getting paid for till March or April, and that's if the brand pays on time. Okay. So you really you cannot just rely on brand partnerships in order to sustain yourself as an influencer. And honestly, I learned that lesson the hard way because as I mentioned in 2022, that was one of my highest earning years. I had a lot of brand partnerships that year. And then in 2023, I had so few brand partnerships that year. So it was just all learning of okay, how do I manage this? How do I sustain this? And it's funny because now in 2024, I'm already seeing more success than I did in 2023. So I just think it's really all a cycle and every year is going to be different. And that's okay. I know for a fact that I have the skills and I have the skill set to continue doing what I do online. And so long as there's a platform for me, I will continue to do what I do. And absolutely, I think anyone who wants to be a social media influencer has to know that you cannot just make money one way. You have to diversify your streams of income. And I think that's an awesome thing, honestly. I don't think that's a negative by any means. Good. Yeah, I think it's a really good thing because there's so many ways to make money online. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you see social media going now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So
is there going to be a new platform maybe?
Yeah. There probably will be because I didn't see TikTok coming and TikTok came and
jumped in
took everything over. Yeah. I definitely think social media is not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, even the fact that I'm 26 now and when I was in 9th and 10th grade is when YouTube and Instagram were becoming so popular and I wanted to be an influencer then and it took me, basically 10 more years to even become, an influencer. So I think it's not going anywhere anytime fast. And so long as there are people like me who are passionate about community and content creation, we'll find a way to post online. So I also have a website.
Okay.
So worst case scenario, if Instagram and TikTok disappeared tomorrow, I would have my website and I'm building an email list in order to really keep my followers connected to me.
And you have a community that can support you.
Exactly. And that's to me, longevity is the community of people, and I hope that grows so much. Speaking on my own platform specifically, I would love to just move into a space where I'm really connecting with my community more. And that could include in-person events or even virtual events. Just having that one-on-one time with my community would be awesome for me in the future. I've had the experience where I've run into people who follow me, especially living in New York. I would run into girls all the time who would be like, oh my God, I follow you on Instagram. Yeah. And it's the craziest thing every single time. And I always want to get to know them. They're they just want to say hi and move on. I'm no, I want to talk to you. Yeah, literally, which is so fun for me. So definitely, for myself, I see that becoming more of a thing. I think also too, just the fact that I have this really strong LGBTQ presence online is so important to me to just continue to be that voice for a community of women who do really feel underrepresented. So just doing more for that community would be something that I really see.
It's you have a good drive, right?
Yeah.
A good motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Maybe in the future I start a foundation or I start something that's just giving back to that community. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just need more time, really. I need more hours in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about AI and social media now? What do you think it's going?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so such a good question. I actually I had a partnership with Google last year where Google hired me to basically be on what's it called? A focus group. And they were launching a new Google AI platform. And that was kind of my first experience using AI. I hadn't really gotten into ChatGPT or anything like that. But ever since trying that platform, first of all, it's shocking how much
crazy.
It can do for you. Yeah. And honestly, I need to be using it more. I don't use it enough. I should be doing it like every day.
It's good for copy.
Yeah. Especially as someone whose entire life is digital. It's like, okay, I should be using this. Yeah. I don't think it's slowing down anytime soon. And I think we just kind of embrace it and learn how to use it to the best of our abilities. For sure.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. I just think people who want to do something like I want to do, just like believe in yourself, honestly, and just go for it. Have that confidence and your community will show up for you.
That's what changed everything for you, right?
It did. It really did.
Self-confidence.
Yeah. Self-confidence.
A therapist.
Absolutely. Get a therapist.
Get a therapist.
Actually, shout out to my therapist. I hope she's doing well. Honestly.
You still see her?
No, I don't see her anymore because she was my college therapist. So like I could only see her when I was in undergrad. It's funny, we have the exact same name. Her name
Maddie?
is my full name is Madeline, and her name was spelled exactly like mine, which is the first time I ever met someone who spelled her name just like mine. So I just felt like we vibed really well.
Okay.
And yeah, honestly, like I think that was such a pivotal point for me, and just I'll never turn back. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I had that experience, and like I believe in myself so fully, and I just am excited for the future. We'll see.
You think that's something that should be done before starting or early on?
Yeah, I do think everyone can benefit from therapy. Absolutely everyone. I think I should probably go back to therapy. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we always need it, right?
Like that's the thing is like I went to therapy once it was really needed, but I think that like there's a lot of value in just being in therapy when you're not in crisis. You know, like just before the crisis happens, so you can have those skills. So
don't let it build up.
Don't let it build up. Exactly, and have your friends too. I think I'm so lucky that I have such a good support system. My friends, Kurobi included, like literally, like. Honestly, Kurobi and I
like-minded people, right?
Like-minded people, exactly, yeah. And especially too, being that Kurobi and I are in the same talent agency, it's so nice to have her because we met through that agency, and you know we were strangers before that. We were mutual followers online, and now she's one of my best friends because of social media. You know, so I've met so many incredible women through social media that have literally become some of my closest friends, and they were just strangers on the internet before. You know, so really, really lean on your support. Obviously, my friends I knew before I was ever an influencer. Those are my true homies. I'm like people who, you know, have my back for sure. My best friend always jokes that it's way better to be the influencer's best friend than to be the influencer because she always gets all the perks, you know, like all the extra clothes and makeup, like everything like, I have. I'm like, yeah, do you want this? I just don't want it. And she's like, okay, yeah, great. So even so, like, I was mentioning earlier about my travel partnerships. We just went to on a trip through the Northeast Spain, and I had a partnership with one of the hostels that we stayed in. So we had a compensated stay. So that my two friends that I was with, you know, they didn't have to do anything. They just showed up, and I'm like, okay, guys, hold the phone. Like I have to film my IG reel and stuff. So it's great to be able to like bring my friends along to that because they deserve it too. They've been supporting me for years. And it's just amazing to like have them experience it with me, you know? Because I definitely had friends that once I became an influencer, haters. They just, you know, they really showed their true colors basically.
What,
so,
they disappeared?
They disappeared. They didn't support me. They had negative things to say. Super jealous. Absolutely. Like, for me, it's like, I'm the type of person where like someone else's success is never, it's never a, my mom used to say, like, saying something nice about someone else takes nothing away from you. And I feel like people who aren't secure in themselves, they really can't handle that. You know, they can't handle other people's success. So the fact that I have such a supportive group of friends who literally love what I do, they're excited to hear about what I do, they watch my stories, they interact with my stuff, like that to me is the most important thing. So yeah.
Okay. Congratulations again, Maddie.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all these tips.
Yeah.
Your story of success.
Oh, yay. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
And hope to see you again. Subscribe.
Yes.